Hello and welcome. My name is Dawson Church, and I'm the author of several best-selling science books, including The Genie in Your Genes and Mind to Matter. I would love to welcome you to my workshop, Turning Thoughts to Things. Now, as a researcher, I'm really curious about what science tells us. And in my book, Mind to Matter, I lay out the science behind what we can manifest with our minds and what we can't. Like, for example, I manifested water in this water container. Now, that might seem not very impressive to you, and it isn't. We can all manifest things like that. But if I told you that I had manifested a pink elephant in the corner of my office over here, you'd be impressed. And so in my book, Mind to Matter, I asked the question, what does science tell us about how much we can manifest? And it turns out, when you look at over 400 scientific studies, the answer turns out to be much closer to the pink elephant than to the glass of water. Most of us are able to manifest all kinds of things in our bodies, in the outside world, and we aren't doing it because we don't know it's possible. I'll train you in the skills that are required for manifestation at my workshop. Now, I'm really fortunate to have shared the stage and be friends with many people in the personal growth movement. I've shared the stage with people like Marianne Williamson, with Anthony Robbins, with Joe Dispenza, with Donna Eden, and many of these people are master manifestors. They are extremely good at manifesting. What I've also done is I've also hooked up hundreds of people now to EEGs and MRIs and looked at what's going on in the brains of people who are effective manifestors. Then I focused on training everyone how to do this. And now I've taken large groups of people at one time and had them learn these techniques and get to these states really quickly. It's interesting too that when we look at, for example, the brain scans of Tibetan manifestation masters and look at their brainwave profile, they're really happy. All the happiness parts of the brain are lit up, all the sadness, depression parts of the brain are shut down, and they have highly coherent brain waves, just like those high performers. In fact, there are two paths into flow, these flow states in which we feel so good. One path is high performance, a second path is meditation. And you can actually learn to induce those flow states with a set of simple techniques. I've also compared the brainwaves of these master manifestors with the brainwaves of people who struggle. I had one friend, for example, let's call her Pam, and she had grand visions of what was possible. She had big ideas, and she inspired everybody with them, but they never happened. So what's the difference between Pam, with all these big ideas, and another close friend of mine, Jack Canfield, who wrote The Success Principles and co-authored the Chicken Soup for the Soul series, a Pam and a Jack. When Jack says, I'm going to manifest something, it's highly likely to happen. When Pam says, I have this grand vision, it doesn't happen. Now, hooking them up to EEGs is really interesting because we see big shifts in their brain waves. Here at one of my workshops, we have this lady in the bottom right-hand corner with that black headband around her head hooked up to an EEG, a very advanced EEG called the Mind Mirror. There, my colleague and research scientist Judith Pennington is showing the audience what's going on with her brain. And we see all her brain waves, from the slow waves of delta at the very bottom to the high waves of gamma at the very top. And we can see what's going on in the brains of people when we hook them up to these machines. And it turns out there's a really big difference between Pam and between Jack Canfield. Between a master manifestor and somebody who has big dreams but nothing happens. And the crucial difference here is coherence. What we see in the brains of master manifestors is a high degree of coherence, and what we see in the brains of people who are not manifestors is incoherent brain waves. So take a look at these two recordings side by side. This person is a manifestor. They're in a state of high coherence. You'll see all of their brain waves at various frequency levels are all in sync. They're synchronized. This person here on the left they are totally out of sync. At each frequency, no one frequency is talking to or coordinating with a second frequency. And so here you have an incoherent brain on the left-hand side. And these are people who really struggle with their lives. Now, the good news is that you can literally train yourself to be a master manifester by training your degree of coherence. Coherence gets things done. And the example I use in my book, Mind to Matter, is a laser. So here you have two different kinds of light. And if you take non-coherent light, incoherent light, for example, an LED or an incandescent light bulb, it's emitting light, and that light can help you see. If you have a 60-watt light bulb in a darkened room, those incoherent light rays, not in phase, are able to illuminate the room, and they're very useful. But if you organize that same 60 watts in phase as a laser, where all of those rays are in coherence, just the way those brain waves are in coherence, that 60-watt laser can cut through a sheet of steel. So you want to be like that. You want to have that ability to make things happen and acquire these coherent brain states. And it turns out to be fairly easy to do it. There's several mechanical steps you do. There are breathing rhythms, there are muscles you can tense, and by studying thousands of people now, we've been able to bring them from non-coherent brain waves into coherent brain waves. So please do join me for my Turning Thoughts to Things workshop. I'll show you how to do all of these simple exercises and techniques that bring you to that coherent state, and then we'll experiment with shifting not just molecules inside our bodies, but molecules around us as well. It's amazing what you can do with the power of a coherent mind, and I'd love to see you unlock that ability to manifest and create the life you want. So please join me for the workshop. I look forward to seeing you there, and we'll go and create together. Thank you.